For the past 4 years, I have been a tattoo artist, and I get a lot of questions about how I got this job. So in this video, I'm gonna share my story on how I became a tattoo artist. So for as long as I can remember, I have always been a creative person. I think drawing has always been there. Is that one thing that felt natural to me? Back when I was younger, I found a huge interest in skateboarding. I started skating when I was, let's say, maybe 10 to 12 years old. I really found a huge interest in that lifestyle, hip-hop, baggy clothes, and graffiti. And especially graffiti, I found a really huge interest in that. The letters, the thick lines, and the shadows. I was completely fascinated by how simple you can make a graffiti piece, and in the same time, it could have so much style. When I'm thinking about it now, I think the whole skateboarding universe kind of shaped me into some of the things I like today, and it's actually pretty wild to think about. Around the same time, my brother got his first tattoo, and I remember I was so fascinating about a drawing that will stay on the skin forever. It was just totally mind-blowing for me. And I think it was the first time I saw a tattoo and I was just totally into that world and I want to explore it even more. A few years later, I started drawing tattoo designs on paper. I was especially drawn to the traditional style. I think maybe the graffiti culture have maybe shaped me a little bit. I like the bold lines and the rough shading you can put in the tattoos. So I was really inspired by the traditional old school tattoos. I spent hours studying on how the traditional tattoos was built up, and I was really fascinated about how a tattoo artist could make such a simple tattoo design seem so special, and I think that was pretty cool and I really want to learn that. So then the day came where I turned 18. I was now illegal to get my first tattoo. Somewhere deep down, I have always thought that my first tattoo should be a swallow. So that's what I got. And I remember coming to the tattoo studio and I was so nervous. I was shaking in my knees. And I remember when I had the stencil on, I was going to the toilet and just looking in the mirror like it was a movie. I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. I was really trying to hype myself up. But yeah, then I got in the chair. She started tattooing me and I was like, this is such a crazy feeling. And from that time I was just hooked. I wanted more. And I think that moment kind of changed everything for me, to be honest. So a few years went by, I got more tattoos and I still spent more hours to just studying and drawing tattoo designs on paper. At this point, I was in high school. It was my final year. Everyone around me was trying to figure out what they should do after high school. And my goal was just to be a tattoo artist. But back then I didn't know anybody in this industry. And to be honest with you, I actually didn't believe in myself back then. So I kind of shut this dream down really quick. And then I thought I had to do something else where I can create stuff. At that time, my sister-in-law was studying graphic design. I talked to her and I know she was working with creative projects. I think that was maybe the second best thing that could happen to me. Working with something creative was really important. I applied for the study and in that summer, 2019, I got in. I started studying graphic design in the summer of 2019. It was a completely new experience for me because now I went to a school where you have to be creative. And I think for the first time, I actually felt that I had found a place I could be in. I was okay at school, but I didn't find it funny and interesting. So when I started studying on the graphic design, it was just mind-blowing to be on a school where you now have to be creative. It was such a nice experience. On the study, we had to learn the Adobe programs like Photoshop and Illustrator, but I already kind of knew the programs from when I was in high school. And then it gave me some more time to focus on other things. And that's when the tattoo designs came back to my life. Started drawing the tattoos on paper again, and I was spending so many hours on just sitting and drawing and try to understand how the tattoos was built up. I would say day and night almost. And then in in 2020, we all knew what happened. The pandemic hit and we were sent back home from school. I was studying from home with my laptop on the left and a bunch of paper on the right with just tattoo designs and just trying to really understand this world I really want to get into. So if my teachers are seeing this, I'm not sure they are, but if they are, I'm sorry that I didn't listen that much that time. I was focused on something else. If we fast forward to 2021, I was writing my final exam on the graphic design school, and one day I came across a job posting at a tattoo studio. I remember I was kind of jumping up the chair. I thought to myself that it has to be a sign. Now I have to reply, it's now or never. So for the 2 years I was studying graphic design, I have collected a portfolio of designs, and then I just thought to myself I had to apply for this job. So I did. I went to an interview and somehow I got the job the same day. It was an unreal moment for me. I was so happy. Now it finally happened that I came into this world that I want to be a part of for so many years. A month later, it was time to start at the studio, and I swear I have never been so nervous in my life before. You know that feeling when you get something you have wanted for so long, something that feels really valuable, and all you can think of to yourself is, don't mess this up. That's exactly how I felt with this job. So I started at the studio. The first 3 months, it was just practicing. I was drawing on paper, observing the other people at the studio, tattooing on fake skin. I was just trying to understand this new world I was in. So after these 3 months where I was just practicing, I had to take an internal test. There was a few technical exercises, and then I had to prepare my own design for the day. If I passed this test, I will be allowed to tattoo on real skin. But I didn't pass. I was so crushed. I was so sad and frustrated. I've been waiting for this moment for years, and then I failed simply because I was too nervous. I couldn't be in my own body. I was so sad. But luckily, I got a second chance the same day. I was like, I really have to get it now because this is my dream. So I took a deep breath and tried again. And luckily, I passed this time. Already the day after, I was tattooing on real skin. It was my best friend from back home. We have always made that kind of deal that if I ever become a tattoo artist, he will be the first person I'm gonna tattoo. So that's what we did. The first tattoo I did was a skull with a 6-pin hat and a cigarette in the mouth, and it was gonna be on the thigh. I can't even describe how nervous I was. I was shaking my hands, I remember, and I was sweating, and yeah, it was really, really tough. But I was so happy that it was my best friend that I was going to tattoo. Looking back at the tattoo today, I will of course do something differently because I evolve almost every day, but I wouldn't say it was a bad tattoo. Honestly, I'm kind of proud how it turned out. Back then, I had a really great mentor called Martin. He helped me a lot through the whole tattoo apprenticeship. Big shout out to Martin for that. So the days went by. I was spending all my time drawing and tattooing and just trying to get better. As a creative person, I've always been good at seeing my own mistakes, and I think that can be pretty hard sometimes. Finally reached the place I have been dreaming of for so many years, and suddenly I just started doubting myself. I think a lot of people are experiencing that in one way or another. It's really a strange mix of happiness and pressure because you just want to be the best at what you do and really want to prove to yourself that this is the right way. So the time went by. I kept exploring and developed my style. I truly believe that we as human, we're never gonna stop developing, and I'm still learning every single day, and I'm really grateful for that. I reached a moment where I felt that I have found my own style. Over time, I kind of moved myself away from thick lines and the hard shadows we typically see in traditional tattoos. I started using thinner lines and more like a soft shading. The combination of these two things and the traditional designs just really had a place in my heart, and I think that's the style I'm also tattooing today. So after 2 years, thought it was time to try something new. So I decided to start as a independent tattoo artist. I could really feel it was the right step to do. Now I have been self-employed for 2 years, and I can honestly say that it is the best thing I have ever done. It allows me to create my own structure of how I want to work, and in the beginning that was the thing I was most afraid of, but now it's one of the things I love the most about being self-deployed. And I think it helps me grow as a human and as a tattoo artist. So I try to take things in my own pace, and I enjoy every single day that I sit in the chair to make tattoos. Looking back, it's kind of strange to think of all the small moments that led me to being here. The drawing, the mistakes, the people I've met. But to be honest, I wouldn't change anything. I think this is where I'm meant to be at. It gives me so much joy. I feel so happy when I'm tattooing, and I can give a experience for other people and see how happy they can be for a tattoo. It's really a crazy feeling to experience and give people every day, and I'm so grateful for this whole journey. If you are sitting out there with a dream, but maybe haven't the dare to take the step, my one piece of advice will be, if you never try, you never know. You have to remember that you need to take things in your own pace. You have to learn, you have to create, and you have to always be curious. And I think that's one of the key things that led me to where I am today. So that's my story on how I became a tattoo artist. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to leave a comment down below, or you can send me a message on Instagram. And I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.